Welcome back to Learning English with Captain Binoy, Varakil, Assistant Professor, Department of English, St. Joseph's College, Calicut. In fact, we are discussing the concept called assimilation, and we know that assimilation is the sound change, and we understand that the change of a sound under the influence of a neighboring sound by which the articulation of the two becomes more similar is known as assimilation. In the previous lecture, we studied about what's known as progressive assimilation and regressive assimilation, and of course in that particular lecture, the previous lecture, we studied that assimilation in general can be just expressed like this, that sound A is replaced by sound B under the influence of sound C, and this is in fact the very easy formula governing the process, what is known as assimilation. One sound is replaced by another sound under the influence of yet another sound. Alright, it doesn't mean that we have the involvement of the presence of three phonemes all the time. So any kind of sound change can be what is known as assimilation, but sometimes there may be an involvement of three sounds, like sound A is replaced by sound B under the influence of sound C. Okay, so it may not be always similar in all the contexts, but of course assimilation is a phonetic process whereby continuous speech is made easier and more efficient and effective to produce through the alteration of movements involved. And when it comes to assimilation, why do we have assimilation in languages? It is in fact the answer is minimization of effort, right? The minimization of effort is the reason behind such a phonetic change as assimilation. Because when we say newsprint, the final sound in news is of course voiced, but the next sound, that is of course the initial sound of print, is voiceless. So we have to say the voiced followed by the voiceless, and this particular change from the voice to the voiceless is rather tedious. We need to be more deliberate, and of course it is taking some kind of time and it's causing some difficulty. Because of that reason, of course, we just change it, or this change is taking very slowly, and the voiced z slowly become voiceless s, and we say newsprint. We don't say newsprint, no. Okay, and this is minimization of effort is the reason behind the phonetic change, assimilation. And now we have to, of course, look at the other aspects of the assimilation, and we are discussing historical assimilation. And when we discuss historical assimilation, it is very easy to understand what is known as assimilation. Say, for example, I said that it is very difficult to, of course, move immediately from this z phoneme to, of course, the p, and because of that reason, this z is becoming s. Similarly, it is difficult to move the tongue rapidly, right? It is very difficult to make a movement from the sounds, of course, in and okay, we have k there. In is alveolar and k is of course velar. In is alveolar. Let us discuss it in a detailed way. In is alveolar and k is velar. Okay, and we know that alveolar sounds are articulated at the alveolum or teeth ridge. And velar sounds are articulated with of course the back, and we say k, g, k, k. Alright, it is of course faraway places like alveolar and velar, and we need of course the tongue needs to travel, okay, not far away in the normal sense, right, like traveling from of course New York to Washington, but of course yet another way within of course, right, the oral cavity. So here you have the alveolar and the velar. Okay, one is of course in the front of the roof of the mouth, the other velar is at the back, and this is difficult for everybody, is each of us to of course quickly move the tongue from alveolar to of course the velar on the soft palate, and we have assimilation as a result of this difficulty. And this particular difficulty, okay, because of this difficulty we are changing the phonemes, and this kind of sound change or phonemic change is taking place over a period of time, and over a long period of time, over a historic period of time. Of course it is happening of course right from like we have Old English period, we have of course Middle English period, okay, Old English period, then we have Middle English period, and of course we have the Modern English period. So we understand that this is of course right, the word in the Old English period is not the same word in the Middle English period. The word is undergoing some change. Similarly, the very word in the Middle English period can also undergo some change in the Modern English period. So such type of a sound change taking place over such a period of time from one period to other, and again from of course that period to yet another, can be called what is known as historic assimilation or historical assimilation. Okay, and we'll look at some examples. Say for example, we have the words like monk, we have, right, M-O-N-K, monk. Another is of course ink. Today we say monk, we say ink, ink. Similarly we say think, alright, think. And we have to understand that these three words, alright, were pronounced differently during the Old English period and the Middle English period. Okay, during the Old English period and the Middle English period, these three words, the first word of course like it was of course pronounced as monk, monk, monk. Alright, it was pronounced monk. Similarly, it was pronounced ink. Alright, ink. Similarly, it was pronounced think, think, think. Okay, pronounced think. Alright, and we have the alveolar in and the velar k. We have the alveolar in and the velar k. Here again alveolar in and velar k. And it's difficult to of course move the tongue from the alveolar in to of course the velar k, and monk later became what is known as, okay, what is known as monk, monk, and ink later became what is known as ink, okay, ink. Similarly, think, think, it becomes think, becomes thing. What does it mean? It means that because of the difficulty, alright, this particular sound, the alveolar n is replaced by the velar n. Alveolar n is replaced by velar in because of the velar k. We can say that sound A is replaced by sound B under the influence of sound C, and this particular sound change is taking place over a period of time, and it is known as historical assimilation. Okay, it's very easy to understand. The alveolar in monk, ink, and think. Alveolar in is monk, ink, and think are replaced by velar n because the next phoneme is velar. So this type of change it is not taking all on a sudden. It is taking place gradually and eventually, and it is known as historical assimilation. Sound A is replaced by sound B under the influence of sound C. That is historical assimilation. Now we have to move forward to two more concepts related to the assimilation, that is contextual assimilation and negligent assimilation. So contextual assimilation and negligent assimilation we discuss after a small break. Thank you.